Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the 7-game NBA main slate on Thursday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make content for daily fantasy sports, for NBA Top Shot, for Prize Picks, for NFL all day. And real quick, I want to give a special shout out to everyone that came and checked out the stream this afternoon. I did a stream called DK's Day where we talk basically a lot of Top Shot, DFS, Prize Picks, try to cover everything. And I'm going to try to do that every single day. So if that's something you guys enjoy, make sure to check out the stream. I'll be doing that tomorrow. We'll be talking a lot of the trade deadline because I'm sure that's going to be a hectic day tomorrow. And it might be hectic here for DFS too with some trades going down. But yeah, if you guys are unable to watch these videos, I do upload on Apple Podcasts, link down below. Premium content off that on patreon.com. Cover, have an NBA and NFL package. And if you sign up this month, you get esports for free. Whatever package you sign up for, you get esports for free. We've been doing really, really well in CSGO and in Call of Duty. So, again, that is one benefit of signing up for this month. And then the sponsor of this video, guys, is Thrive Fantasy. So, Thrive Fantasy, if you're not familiar, so first of all, they have some big, big contests for the Super Bowl. But yeah, so for NBA, how it works is you build out a lineup on player props. So for tomorrow's 7-game slate, you have 10 player props and you pick, or there's 20 player props, I should say, and you pick 10 of those 20. And the less probable the prop is to occur, the more points you receive. So there's obviously some game theory involved. For example, John Morant, 6.5 assists. The over is very likely to hit, so you only get 85 points if it hits. But if it somehow goes under, you get a lot of points, right? So yeah, they have some pretty decent sized contests. Again, they have big, big contests for the Super Bowl. So if you guys want to give it a try, you can sign up and use my code DKDFS for a 100% match up to $100. And as always, guys, I thank you guys for coming out and watching these videos. If you do enjoy, just make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you do know when I upload and go live. So let's take a look back lineup here from tonight. So tonight it went really, really well, but I'm a little bit mad at myself for not entering my normal contest. I focus on the smaller field single entry stuff, and I just entered the big $88 20K to first tournament. I finished 67th out of, 1.4 thousand, but I would have had a much better ROI if I would have stuck to my normal small field single entry. So I'm kind of kicking myself. It probably would have been like a 5 to 7x night if I entered the smaller field stuff, which I always talk about. Those are the contests I prefer. They're just easier to profit long term instead of entering these big contests hoping for like the first place, right? Even though these bigger contests have the bigger prize pools, it's just not a great ROI, right? I finished with like a top 5% lineup, maybe even a little bit better than that, and I barely doubled my money. So again, I'm kind of kicking myself for contest selection. But the reason I went with it was because I was going with a pretty contrarian lineup. So my breakdown of the slate was I knew the Charlotte-Chicago game was going to be very, very popular. And I knew a lot of people were just going to take the players in those games. They weren't willing – a lot of players are not willing to wait for the late news or they don't want to deal with that hassle. So you always see guys in those later games a lot lower owned than they should be. And we saw that with a lot of these spend ups, right? Fox was super low owned. And I was tilted too. It was a delayed tilt on Twitter because I was like, wait, why is Fox not in the game? Picked up 2 quick fouls in 3 minutes to start the game. And he still absolutely smashed while losing out in big minutes because of foul trouble. So again, that was a little bit tilting, but yeah, my core was LaMelo, Oubre, Winslow, and De'Aaron Fox, all smashed. Oubre was fine. He was massive, massive chalk. Again, I went a little bit underweight on that game because I wanted to leave myself wiggle room for the late game, and I knew we would get some guys low ownership. So one guy, my last piece in, ended up working out in a big way. That was Talon Horton-Tucker. Once Russell Westbrook got ruled out, I was like, okay, I think we get more point THT, and he went for 30 fancy points, worked out really well. Again, Winslow was the smash. Nurkic and Simons are both fine. Both hit, value 40 for Nurk and 37 for Simons. Simons started really slow too. It was like CJ Ellaby season in the first half, and I was getting very tilted because these are the one Blazer did not have, and he was smashing. Yeah, and then again, Fox got in foul trouble, Met too. So I was a little bit worried about his minutes. But I stuck with him. Again, he did not close. He only played the first 3 quarters, but still had a solid performance in that time. So, yeah, guys, that is the look back for tonight. Hope you guys had a good night. And can we talk about this in the Mega 8s? This guy got the top 6. The top 6 were all himself. That is crazy. Crazy. Congrats to him on a big night. The winning lineup overall was LaMelo. D'Lo, who I made a post about, I was like, hey, he is my favorite Minnesota Timberwolves of the 3 because once we got that Patrick Beverley ruled out news, D'Lo just does way more of the ball handling. We saw 10 assists from him, so he was an absolute smash. McLemore was a little bit disappointing and did not close. It went to Dennis Smith Jr. Winslow Whiteside had a massive game, 7 blocks and 2 steals. That was a little bit unreal. Donovan Mitchell had a solid game. Can we just shout out Quinn Snyder, right? He is one coach that he's just going to play his starters in the fourth quarter almost no matter what. They were up by like 25 with 6 minutes to go in the fourth. Starters were still on. He pulled them with like 3 minutes to go. So he is the exact opposite of Popovich, who, if it's like a 10-point game to start the fourth quarter, Popovich is waving the white flag. He's moving on to the next game. Complete opposite Quinn Snyder, who just plays his starters big minutes, even in blowouts. And then THT Fox rounded out that lineup. So, really good night overall for me. Good night for a lot of Patreon members. Hope you guys had a good night. And let's talk about this 7-gamer. So start with Memphis and Detroit. And John Morant at the top, 10.3K. I have no issue. I think the only downside here is potential for a blowout. I said the same thing with Luka last time he played Detroit. He absolutely went off, but barely played in the fourth quarter because the Pistons got destroyed. So I have some interest in Ja, but again, there's some blowout risk. Triple J, Bane, more secondary plays. Steven Adams at 5'3" does not really stand out. I mean, there's not a lot that really stands out outside of Ja for me because they're like basically a fully healthy team, and they're kind of running a deep rotation. So I don't know if I get to anyone else. Like Zaire Williams is 3.3K. He's been playing around 20 minutes. I just don't know if I want to go there. Like Tyus Jones, 3-4. He'll play the backup point. Like, it's just everyone kind of looks like Slow-Mo's playing 15 to 20 minutes. Melton's minutes have been down a little bit of late. I don't know. There's just nothing outside of Ja that really stands out to me. Now, on the Detroit side, I'm really hoping Cade Cunningham plays. I do not want to deal with this. I just don't want to deal with the Pistons Valley. That is one of my least favorite things, is to just have to look at this disgusting group of Pistons value guards of Corey Joseph and Killian Hayes and Frank Jackson and Rodney McGruder. I mean, my God, is that just an awful, awful backcourt. So I'm really hoping Cade Cunningham plays so we don't have to deal with that. But yeah, Cade's been questionable the last couple games. He has not played. So if he does play, he's always in play for GPPs. We've seen the ceiling. We've also seen the floor from him. Either he gets in foul trouble or the Pistons just get killed. Keep an eye on that. If Cade Cunningham's out, then Sadiq Bey is the guy that has shown some upside. He shot 1 of 11 last game, but he's gone for 43, 32, and 53 fantasy points in 3 of the last 4 games. So yeah, Sadiq Bey would be playable. Jeremy Grant is really taking a backseat of late. Hard to go there right now. I think I would rather go to Bey if I'm going to go to one of those wings. Stewart's played well, but he's not playing huge minutes. Diallo at 4.8. He's one guy that is a good point per minute guy, but he's still not getting huge minutes. Like if Cade is out, I think he's playable in tournaments. And then again, just disgusting group of Corey Joseph and Hayes and Frank Jackson, even Rodney McGruder. I really don't want to deal with that, but I guess Kojo would probably be my favorite of the bunch if there's no Cade Cunningham. Brooklyn and Washington. All right, so this game looks appealing to me. No Harden, no Durant, no Aldridge, possibly no Claxton. We do have Kyrie back. And, the Nets have just been blown out. But now they get a depleted Wizards team who's been awful. So we have 2 teams that have been awful recently going up against each other. Neither team plays defense. That's a recipe for success for DFS. So I think Kyrie Irving looks really good at the top of 10-4. He's just going to have to do everything for this team. Probably plays close to 40 minutes, so he looks good. Cam Thomas, be careful here. I know he's been good of late, but a lot of these games have been in massive blowouts. So, it feels like a chase a little bit with Cam Thomas, especially with Kyrie back. Now, Patty Mills, this game should stay competitive, so he should play, low 30s minutes. I think he's a fair play in the mid-range. Blake Griffin, if there's no Nick Claxton, would probably start and play 25 to 30 minutes and would be a decent value play. Now, if Claxton is in and Claxton starts, then I like Claxton if there's no limitations. So again, monitor that situation. We saw Day'Ron Sharpe get extended run, but that was because the game was a massive blowout. And also keep an eye on the starting lineup. We've seen a couple games where James Johnson started. Last game moved to the bench. Bruce Brown started last game, but he did absolutely nothing in 32 minutes, which is kind of a little bit surprising. Normally, Bruce Brown is not a bad point per minute guy. I mean, Bembry's going to see minutes. Kessler Edwards probably will see minutes, but these guys, again, are not great fantasy producers. So, again, monitor the starting lineup for Brooklyn and see the status there of Nick Claxton. On the Washington side, so yeah, Kuzma and Dinwiddie. I mean, I'm ready to lose more money with these guys. I mean, this game should stay competitive. Last couple games, they have not gotten there because they've just gotten absolutely destroyed. But you don't have to look back too far, right? Just take a look back at the last 3 games that stay competitive for Kuzma. 52, 51, and 46 fantasy points. And for Dinwiddie, 28, 47. 28 when he shot awful. 47 there. So, like, these two, I think, look pretty good. It's a revenge game narrative for Dinwiddie if you're into that. So I like both the Wizards' main pieces here in Kuzma and in Dinwiddie. As far as the centers go, so Thomas Bryant most likely starts and plays around 20 minutes. A fair value, but he's been not great of late. Montrezl Harrell is the upside play at center. He probably sees 20 to 25 minutes. I think he's in play for GPPs. Aaron Holiday had a big game last game, but again, be careful here, right? A lot of that was in the blowout. So in a competitive game, he's probably only seeing around 20 minutes. KCP should see, I probably should move this mic a little bit closer. KCP probably sees, 25 to 30 minutes. He's always in play for value, but has to hit shots to get there. Kind of the same thing with Denny. Again, Kispert had a pretty good big game, but that was in a blowout. So, like, my main interest is definitely going to be the main 2 guys there for Washington, Miami, and New Orleans. So, Miami would basically have a fully healthy team. Tyler Hero is probable. Hero, Lowry don't really stand out to me. I think Jimmy and Bam are fine spend-ups in a decent spot, but neither of those guys are priority plays. And the value is kind of hard to get to when this team is fully healthy. I guess Duncan's in play for GPPs, but again, he's score independent. We have Tyler Hero most likely coming back. PJ Tucker at 3.9. I mean, probably sees mid-20s minutes, maybe a little bit more. I guess he's okay value. On the Pelican side, probably my least favorite team to target on the slate. They have CJ listed as out, but he's expected to make his Pelicans debut. So what I think happens with the starting lineup is Devontae Graham at the 1, CJ at the 2, Ingram, Herb Jones, and then Jonas Valanciunas. So Jackson Hayes should get moved back to the bench and probably just play the backup 5. But it's hard to get to Jackson Hayes. It's hard to get to any of these main Pelicans guys. They're not at great price points. It's an awful matchup. And now we have CJ McCollum coming in. So, not much to like here on the Pelican side. Toronto and Houston, well, this game can stay competitive. There's a lot to like here for Toronto, right? Siakam and Van Fleet are going to play 40 to 44 minutes in a competitive game. I mean, Siakam over the last week and a half is just on another level. I feel like he's just getting 50 fantasy points almost every single game. So, and I love the spot for both those two. As far as OG and Barnes go, again, they're always secondary options for me. They can have upside, but more often than not, they're hovering in that 30 to 35 fantasy point range. Gary Trent Jr. at 6'5", still has upside, but he's score independent. Boucher, Achua, more secondary options. Boucher probably sees around 20 minutes. Achua maybe around 15. On the Houston side, so Christian Wood, 8K, kind of like as a contrarian spend up. I think we get, low to mid 30s minutes from him. So I think he's an interesting GPP play. Kevin Porter Jr., I don't mind either. He's playing big minutes right now, 34, 36. So I think he looks pretty good, even in a, tougher matchup. Jayshawn Tate at 5'2", kind of indifferent on him. I think we get around 30 minutes. Jalen Green's been playing a little bit more with Eric Gordon. I don't expect Eric Gordon to play in this game, so we probably see around 30 minutes from Green. We've been seeing Sengun start finally and getting minutes, and he's showing everyone what he can do. He's a pretty solid point per minute guy. I think he's a solid value, assuming that he starts again. Off the bench, you can look to Matthews, who probably sees mid to high 20s minutes, but he's scoring independent. Christopher at 3.8K, 20-ish minutes, I think is a pretty fair guess. A little bit hard to prioritize him. And then KJ Martin probably sees, around 20 minutes. Again, secondary value, though. Clippers and the Mavs, another team. I just hate seeing this team on the slate. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't like seeing this team, and they're just running a super deep rotation. They're going with hot hand a lot of the time. It's really hard to feel good about any of these guys. I'll say like Reggie and Morris are probably the guys I would consider in tournaments. Again, though, these minutes are not secure. I know last couple games have been blowouts, but in a competitive game, I would guess those two probably play the most in Morris and Reggie in probably 30 to 35 minutes. So they're in play for tournaments. Norman Powell at 6.8K. Again, I'm probably going to pass. I'm probably not going to go to Covington either. Ibaka's basically been out of the rotation. Now, we have been seeing Mann kind of play the backup point. But again, there's been blowouts in back-to-back games, so I'm not sure if he plays 25 minutes a game. Maybe he only plays like 15 to 20 in competitive game, right? He's been getting extended because of the blowout. Amir Coffey's price is way, way down. Minutes have been seeing like mid-20s. I don't hate trying to buy low on him, but he's been really confusing as a player. Like, he was awful to start the year. He went on like a 2-week stretch where he turned into like their best player, and now he's going back to being awful again. Zubac at 3.9, again, didn't play a ton because of the blowout. I think he plays low 20s minutes. At a sub 4K price point, I think it's in play. Hartenstein probably plays the backup 5. Again, he played a lot last game because of the blowout. And Smash, we know, is a good point per minute guy. You have Batum, you have Kennard, right? They just have so many guys in this rotation that I don't like this team at all. On the Dallas side, so Luka Doncic, as long as his game stays competitive, I think he looks really good. I mean, he's basically playing 40 minutes a night no matter what. So I think Luka looks like a great spend up. And right now, he has really turned the corner, right? At the beginning of the season, he started slow, but Luka is just, again, on another level. So I think he looks really solid there at the top. Brunson 6'7", kind of indifferent on him. Reggie Bullock at 5'2", feels a little bit pricey. Dorian Finney-Smith going to play big minutes, but priced about right. We have Kleba back, so him and Powell, again, secondary plays. There's really not much outside of Luka that I like on the Dallas side. All right, the Knicks and the Warriors. So this one should be fun, guys. Obviously, there's blowout risk here. We have R.J. Barrett doubtful. We don't know the status of Robinson and Noel once again. So I'll start with Julius Randle. If the Knicks have any chance to keep this game competitive, you're probably going to have to see a massive game from Randle, who has played well over the last week. So I have interest in Randle in GPPs, but again, obviously a lot of blowout risk. And with Barrett doubtful, there's a lot of minutes to go around. RJ Barrett has been playing huge minutes. 50, 43, and 35 minutes over the last 3 games. 39 there against Memphis. That's a ton of run. And again, him and Randle have really been dominating the usage, and a lot of usage to go around. So unfortunately, I think we have to like this Knicks value. So we'll start with Fournier at 5'9", who probably sees mid-30s minutes. I think he's definitely viable. Now, he still has a floor if he can't make his shots, but he has upside. I would guess that it's Alec Burks that moves into the starting lineup for Barrett. If that's the case, he probably sees over 30 minutes in a competitive game. Going to make him look good. Kemba Walker is sub 4K, and without RJ Barrett, I think he gets a little bit of a bump too. So you're not going to feel good about it. But if we get like 25 to 30 minutes from Kemba at 3.9K, I think that's at least interesting. Cam Reddish has been a DNP basically over the last week or so. Maybe he gets in the rotation now for Barrett, but still hard to prioritize him unless you think the game blows out or something, which is definitely possible. Quickly, as you know, the minutes, some games he's playing close to 30, some games he's playing 5 minutes, right? You never know. So I think he's viable for tournaments. And then if both centers are out, I think Taj is a pretty safe play. Probably sees 25-ish minutes, is 3.3K. Again, probably not going to win you a tournament, but I don't think he kills you either. So I think Taj would be viable. Again, top end, they're just stubborn, right? They're just using him as the backup 4, so it's hard to go to him because they're not playing him alongside Randle at all. And then if Robinson ends up playing, I think he's a pretty good tournament play. He had a massive game there against Utah, a couple of big games in 2 of the last 3. So if he ends up giving it a go, I think you can consider him in GPPs. Now, on the Warrior side, we do have Klay Thompson coming back, and we have Otto Porter that's going to rest in this one. So Steph Curry, again, he's overpriced. You can always consider him in tournaments. Wiggins does not really stand out. Poole with Klay back, more of a secondary play. I think I would rather take a shot on Klay, who got his minutes bumped last game to about 30. So I think Klay probably my favorite play in the Warriors. Looney in a competitive game should see mid-20s minutes. I think he's another relatively safe play for Golden State. And then off the bench, you never know what's going to happen. So if you want to take a shot on Kuminga and hope the game blows out, or a Gary Payton or something like that and hope for the blowout, you can. But you just never know with Steve Kerr. And finally, guys, Milwaukee and Phoenix. So this game should be fun, right? A rematch of the finals. I'm excited to watch this one. We'll start with Giannis Antetokounmpo, 12K, who absolutely smashed for me. When I made my video last night, it was looking like the game was going to blow out, right? It was like a 25-point game, but the Lakers at least made it competitive. So Giannis played the whole fourth quarter, and he went for 82. So I think Giannis is a good spend up once again. In a competitive game, he's playing 35 minutes, and obviously he has insane upside. As far as the secondary plays go, Drew, Middleton, Portis, that's kind of just what they are. They're secondary options for me. We've seen a couple big games from Drew of late. We've seen a couple of big games from Bobby Portis as well. But yeah, definitely Giannis is the guy that stands out to me. Value-wise, not much. Grayson Allen going to start and probably play 25 to 30 minutes. He's scoring independent. Connaughton, DiVincenzo will be in the rotation, but both these guys are low usage. I mean, on a slate that lacks value, I think you could consider them, but it's hard to feel good about either of those two value pieces. And finally, Phoenix. So I got to tilt about this a little bit. I go to a low-owned Paul 2 slates ago. In a competitive, he plays 34 minutes. But the next night in regulation, 42 minutes. But yeah, with Cameron Payne out, I think Chris Paul is once again a good contrarian play. I think we get around 40 minutes from him, and people just don't want to pay this price point for him because they're thinking of the Chris Paul from the beginning of the season who was playing 30 to 32 minutes, right? This is a different Chris Paul. In a competitive game, he's playing around 40 minutes. That's what we've seen really the last couple of weeks, besides the game that I was at where they limited his minutes, and I was very tilted about that. Devin Booker at 8-9. Again, he is a guy that has a ceiling. He has a little bit of a lower floor than Paul because he's scoring independent, but I think he looks pretty good for GPPs. DeAndre Ayton at 6-6 has been in some foul trouble over the last couple of games, but we should get around 30 minutes from him, which I think makes him a fair play. Bridges at 6-1 has also played really well of late, but his price is up. I do think Jay Crowder's a pretty safe value play. Assuming no foul trouble, he should get low 30s minutes. So I have no issue going to Crowder. Like, I'd rather go to him over Cam Johnson, who right now is only playing about 20 minutes. And McGee, I used him last night at low ownership. It worked out in a massive way against Chicago, I mean. He went for 32 fantasy points in 22 minutes, 38 there in 18 minutes against Philadelphia. But when DeAndre Ayton's out and he starts, he goes for like 16 fantasy points in 25 minutes, right? He could only have a good game coming out the bench, I swear. But yeah, McGee, I think, is always somebody you can consider in tournaments, but price is now up, and after back-to-back big games, feels like a chase a little bit. And that's probably it. Again, Cam Johnson, not really interested at his current about 20 minutes a game. So yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the video. Again, if you have been enjoying the content, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. And make sure to check out DK's Day stream tomorrow. Again, I'll be talking about answer questions about daily fantasy, about the slate. We'll talk some Top Shot, talk some prize picks as well. So thanks again, guys. Have a great night, and I will see you in the next video.